Hello Internet, welcome to Media Molecule Towers, where we have a lot of people for you today. Hopefully you won't hear too much from me and more from everyone else. And today we're celebrating 10 years of Media Molecule, 8 years of Little Big Planet, and tea, drinking. And here with me are all the people on the sofa at the moment are the people who started Media Molecule at the very beginning. And so from the left we have Chris. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Chris. I'm thrilled to be back. I haven't been here for a little while, but I was involved at the very beginning doing all of the businessy stuff of Media Molecule and working with Mags on all of the numbers and stuff.
Siobhan, you're up next. Let's go down the line.
Hello, I'm Siobhan. I'm really trying to customise my character really fast so it looks amazing. I'm like the Madam Cat herder around here, and I try my very best, but it's...
Yeah, we will be playing Little Big Planet in a moment. The audience can't see you do that yet, so you can get changed.
Hi, I'm Mags. I am goddess of finance and all things facilities. Yep. And
Mags saved us from insolvency many times. Hooray, thanks Mags. I'm Alex, and I will be your MC today. And moving on, we have
David, the other technical director, makes gameplay and stuff.
Yeah, so I do the pictures and he does the games. Well, actually, everyone else does it, and we just whinge about it.
That's a fair summary.
Yes. And on the end?
Kareem, I'm just here for my looks.
And Mark?
My name's Mark, and I sit on the floor.
And I'm not sure who else you can see in camera, but there's a lot of people that you'll be chatting to today. So the beginning of Media Molecule was basically this group of people coming together and deciding to make a game about creativity. And should we switch to LBP1 and start just playing the level? What's this? This is all about games, after all. So here we are. I will tell you who's who. We've got Dave is Kratos meets Mad Men. We've got Kareem the Ninja. We've got, who else? We've got Mark the Chinese Dragon, which is my favourite costume. And people who saw LBP announcement will know that was one of the original costumes. And who's the lady? That's Siobhan the mermaid.
Mermaid.
So has anyone got anything you want to remember from this opening level?
This one is you. The cardboard texture, man. That was like probably the first texture we put in the game.
Yeah.
So this is the opening level of Little Big Planet, and it's set to the music of Tony Hart's Gallery, which to a certain English person of a certain age will bring back their childhood, because and we actually invited Tony Hart to the LBP2 launch party, which is towards the end of his life. So he was a legend for a lot of us, and I think a big thing for Media Molecule is creativity and making stuff. Pete and Leo, you will be meeting our producers later. They are visiting. They're coming into the stream in a bit, and they were the people at Sony who made sure that we were not dossing about.
It's amazing the intro, to see all the team and to see everybody in this intro is here in this room now.
Yeah. So there'll be extra points for everyone on the stream who can spot the names and put names to faces as we go through the stream today. There'll be lots of these people coming in to share their 2 cents. I think the idea was that the theme, I don't know if people noticed at the time, but the audio department, Kenny and Matt, have ears. And there's basically clues about what each person did on the project based on the level. So this is the network team, in case you can guess it. And when we started out Media Molecule, I remember sitting on a sofa with the rest of us, and we realised that we needed a producer. And we'd never worked with Siobhan before. Siobhan, what was your memory of us first contacting you?
I remember 2 things. I remember being at my Christmas party at home in my house with Barry and talking to you guys about, I think, being at a point where I was nearly done working at Criterion. Reaching the end point.
My memory is that you'd emigrated to Australia.
I know, well then I went on holiday to Australia,
Okay.
And then you always tell it as if I'd left and moved to Australia, but I hadn't. I was just trying to figure out what to do with things, and then I got the email. But my biggest memory is that you felt that you needed to persuade me, whereas I was like, yeah, okay, all right then.
That's good.
And Mark, I remember Mark showing me.
The thing I particularly remember was inviting you to join in one of our meetings to get a feel for how we interact with each other. And we were just screaming at each other and basically really getting childish and arguing about everything. That's what I remember.
And nothing's changed.
And nothing's changed. Yeah, Media Molecule is ever the same. So this moment where you get to introduce yourself, the Sackboy moment, you will be meeting Francis, who is the artist behind the shape of Sackboy. And what's interesting about Sackboy is he's a sort of melding of many designs. So many people contributed. Kareem, the art director on the sofa that you will hear more from in a moment. You did a design, didn't you, Kareem?
Well, we all did some drawing. That was a classic molecule process where Dave, myself, Mark, and Francis all started drawing. We wanted to make a character that is a blank canvas, yet had so much personality.
Yeah, and I remember also someone pointed out, maybe it was Francis, that silhouettes of Disney characters are always very recognisable in 2D, and we realised that we wanted Sackboy to have a very recognisable silhouette. But we've got to the end of the level, so I think we should even rewind the clock further back, and let's go back, and let's gonna pull in some other people onto the sofa. So everyone who was on the sofa, please leave. And Mark and Victor are going to take you through a journey back before Media Molecule to the story of Ragdoll Kung Fu, which Indie Game the Movie gets wrong and says that the first game on Steam, not by Valve, was, is it Amplitude or Frequency, one of those? It's a rhythm music game. No, we were before that. But anyway, so Ragdoll Kung Fu was Mark's pet project, and he, come and sit on the sofa, and I'm going to hand over to you guys. He developed Ragdoll Kung Fu, and it ended up on Steam, and that was what gave us the confidence to start a studio together. So, over to you, Mark.
So that started life as a kung fu film. Actually, that was literally stole the video camera from Lionhead, and it was like, let's make a kung fu film this weekend.
Gave it back, I hope.
Yeah, we gave it back. I borrowed it, and it was literally just for the hell of it, just to have a bit of fun, really. But I remember at the same time I was teaching myself C++, because I think I was getting really annoyed with the programmers at Lionhead claiming that they couldn't do certain things. So I just said, well, of course you can, and I just
it's easy when
taught myself C++ and showed them how to do it, basically. Yeah. But it sort of, I put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, oh, I've got this silly film. I'm learning to program. Let's make a silly little fighting game and use it as the cutscenes, and that was the birth of it, really. And the accidental thing that happened was, for some reason, it got put onto the Lionhead website or something, or somebody.
Yeah, the forums, and you ran a competition to design some skins.
No, this was way before that.
Okay.
It was literally the video just got put onto the Lionhead, and suddenly I got in a lot of trouble because there was lots of people thinking this was Lionhead's next game or something like this.
Oh, and actually, this trailer that we're watching. Sorry, so the trailer you're watching right now is the original trailer we cut together, and it's basically a mixture of game footage intercut with that original Kung Fu movie that you did. And actually, the voice of some of the characters, or most of the characters, is voiced by Barry, who is one of the founders of Fireproof, and you'll hear more about Fireproof, who made The Room later, but he is the voice of...
I remember when we were doing the voices for that film, it was in an office at night, and behind us was somebody who was working late, trying to do some really tedious skinning task or something, and there was me, Kareem and Barry just laughing like gibbering fools, making up these voices all the time, and she was getting really, really annoyed.
So how did you meet the strange Swedish chap on your left?
Hello.
Yeah, so Victor, well, I don't remember exactly how this happened, but somehow I managed to sort of put out a call for some beta testers.
Yeah, it's actually when he ended up, so you managed to get like a sub forum on the Lionhead forums.
Okay.
And then you opened up a competition where you could submit skins, like character designs.
Oh, okay.
For it. And then I was...
Got a better memory than me.
Yeah. No,
he won all of... Basically, Victor, we were trying to pick a winner. We didn't look at who made them, and he won every single prize, like first, second,
three
and
out
third.
of four.
Three out of... Yeah. No, well, we did the fourth one. I think we just had to put someone else in.
I can't remember that. I remember the actual characters that you designed, though. There was like really this horrible wrinkly old man kind of thing. It was like really creepy. Yeah. And for some reason, well, because of that reason, I always... You in my head were like a wrinkly old man, because I never met you until I met you.
So what year was this? This was 2004, 5, something like that.
Yeah, 4, 5, yeah.
No idea.
I think that's about.
I remember I started off with about 10 people who were helping me beta test the online stuff, and by the end of it, Victor was the only guy that was left, basically.
I was really enthusiastic. I was too young to have a credit card at the time. So the reason I was like really passionate about winning this competition was because I wanted a copy of the game.
So if there's any budding game designers out there, just do what Victor did and find a game, win all the competitions,
harass the developer.
You'll become a game developer.
I mean, really, like now, I think thing about Ragdoll and its relevance to Little Big Planet, for example, is I remember when we went to pitch Little Big Planet to Phil Harrison at the time, we sort of showed Ragdoll Kung Fu as an example of something that we'd done together, because actually Alex and Dave helped me towards the end to do some of the tricky stuff. And the character customization in Ragdoll Kung Fu in some ways was like a bit of an inspiration for the user-created content in...
I think a lot of it was. I mean, I think you can see a lot of the DNA of each of us as individuals, but also of Mark through Ragdoll Kung Fu. And are we going to show a never before seen earlier than Yellowhead demo? So that sort of segues neatly. So while Mark was making Ragdoll Kung Fu, this chap here, Dave, was making a game in which you race an orange through a blue level. Can you tell us about that, Dave?
Yeah, so I had kind of an interest. So I was working at Lionhead, and in my spare time had an interest in making weird little physics games. Then once we had kind of made that decision to leap into the unknown and start a new company, I was kind of rapidly taking... We talked about ideas, about things we cared about the kind of physicality of the characters and about kind of customization, I suppose, as well. And was making some early prototype of... Well, you can see here this sort of simple 2D editor for making physics things. So it's all kind of quite boring at this point. Objects that you can make and move, and you might see some vague suggestions of the future of LBP creation, though this really had no idea in mind of what UGC would be. But now you can see this is the level that we were using for our initial pitch.
Yeah, so there's actually a video on YouTube of a sort of prettified version of this with Yellowhead. It's called the Yellowhead demo. With Yellowhead running through, but this is actually pre-Yellowhead.
So if you look in, so this is Flathead, so there's no yellow, the feet are little white lines, and you can see a very different control scheme. There are no buttons, so the right analog stick was for kind of moving up and down, so you'd grab thing, so the left was very odd. You would fling your arms up and down to jump, so trying to have this very physical thing, and in a way trying to take that physicality of Ragdoll Kung Fu and translate it into a more stick environment, so not with the mouse but with the analog sticks, but maintain that.
Still see traces of Sackboy in that, though, can't you? Like, like the way the feet plant on the corners and things like that. That's all.
So a small technical thing for any people, programmers or budding programmers in the stream. This level is actually built using those tools that you saw Dave using to draw the shapes. Were actually the tools that we used to build the first levels for Little Big Planet. And this level file format is actually loadable by Little Big Planet 3 to this day. It probably doesn't quite work, but in theory it's the same file format that Little Big Planet 3 uses. In theory you could take this level, somehow get it onto the network, and actually in theory LBP3 would be able to load this exact scene and directly play it. So the lineage of the code, like literally the lines of code that you wrote here, still exist in Little Big Planet 3 to this day.
I think somebody remade the Yellowhead demo in Little Big Planet anyway. You probably could do a search for Yellowhead, you'll probably find a level that's...
I just find it so amusing. And the other day we were looking at the LBP source code and we saw that there are over 1,000 revisions. So if you know what a revision is, like we've been changing the file format gradually, but it's always backward compatible so that you guys can play Little Big Planet 1 levels and Little Big Planet 2, Little Big Planet 2 levels and Little Big Planet 3. But actually you can play flat world levels dating back over 1,000 revisions of changes. So it doesn't work very well. But we also have a exciting build about... Oh, that comes later. I'm jumping ahead. I'm so excited. So Sackboy, turning Flat World into Little Big Planet was a long journey. And a
painful one.
And the first people we really sort of got involved were Anton Kirsanov and Francis Pang, who... there he is. There's Anton. Is he coming over to the sofa? Are we?
We're here.
Oh, hello. Hello, guys. I can't figure it all out. It's so intense. So tell us about your entry into the world of MM.
Oh gosh. Well, I think you sent me a text or something. It was like, hey, check out my awesome Flatland demo. And I did. And I was like, oh, clearly that's going to be awesome. I'll go work on that.
And what did you end up? What did you end up making?
What was the first thing? Was it trying to get Sackboy to do like your models and animations?
Yeah, well, we were sort of presented with that program our art, we were just looking at, and tasked to sort of make it look cool, put Sackboy over the top.
It looks cool already. That is so rude.
I remember there being a big argument actually, because Dave had obviously created the original Flathead, and then we were going to translate it into a 3D character. And Dave was quite keen on keeping it this thing that faced forwards, because he was so in love with it, and it was really cool. But so it could have ended up that Sackboy always ended up walking on. So I remember there being quite a few screwdriver fights over that.
There was a middle ground, wasn't there? Like,
Yeah, we ended up hot.
if you used to shimmy, walk very slowly, Sackboy was sidestep.
Yeah, and the way he always if you stand still, it always stands to face the camera, doesn't it? So there's traces of it in there.
And I mean, Francis, I think, had a dark side. You know, he was so busy animating the happy parts of Sackboy. We've got a few of his sketches that he created for the ways that he could kill Sackboy, which obviously you should never ever do. Hang on.
Right, and the other main
Oh,
thing
this is okay. So this is actually a little milestone video. Anton is talking to camera, and the way that we communicated with Sony, and you'll meet Pete and Leo, our producers. So we were sending these videos up to Liverpool for Pete and Leo to watch, where we would explain what we were doing and what we were making, and that they ought to pay us a little bit of money. So the this sequence shows somewhat awful and brutal sort of. Oh, has this video ever been seen before outside Molecule?
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
That was.
Yeah, I mean,
that never really stayed in, did it? I don't think.
well, we ended up using those kind of. We ended up using that as the sort of cloth physics for the costumes, so we used it for a much more.
Look at that, that's awesome.
Maybe I don't know. Anyone on the stream, you can vote. Like, should we have kept this kind of floppy, ruinous, poor Sackboy? I mean, you know.
And if they say yes, we go back in time and we'll do it all again.
We will go back into Time Machine and do it all again. And I think Sackboy as well. You can, if you look carefully, he has a slightly different look. He has a sort of more pinched look, which is the cream edition Sackboy. He had a different silhouette. And at this point, we've moved to. I can't quite see who's that talking on camera. That's Francis. That's Francis. Francis, what were you saying?
I think this is about the economy. It's weird that this bit comes afterwards. So this is the video that I sort of supplied to Anton and Kurt. It was like a concept for how I felt sort of falling death should work, and stuff like the way he handled it. Scramble to get back. Yeah. I think we're just sort of tasked to just go wild, like go as sort of extreme as possible.
And one
Don't
thing,
hate me. It's horrible.
one thing people often ask, any game developer will know and tell you that, like, people always ask, why did you take out this feature or that feature? You know, we took out ice, and a lot of people ask about why we took that out. But there's actually a huge amount that goes on the cutting room floor. And one of the things that we found the other day, Siobhan had a DVD that was literally 8 years old in her desk, and we put it into a PS3 dev kit, and it still booted and it still ran. So we actually have a running build of Little Big Planet long before it was even greenlit. This code is, nearly a decade old. None of us have seen it in at least 7 years. But see if any LBP aficionados out there, this has never been seen before outside Media Molecule, see what changes and differences you can see between LBP that you know and love now and the LBP that you're seeing it from 2006. Now, Dave's going to talk us through some creative differences as well, because one thing we had no idea about was Poppet. Poppet didn't exist at this point. So can we cut to the PS3, please? Right, so this is LBP before it was even greenlit, and we actually presented something like this build to Sony, and we basically waved our hands and said, and there will be create mode, and you will be able to create. Dave, tell us about create.
Yeah, so in the initial pitch, when we were talking about create, we actually didn't know what it meant, which sounds ridiculous now, because now it's clear what it means to create. Well, you make levels, you make games, you share them. But at the time, we just knew creating was an exciting thing. Customization was what we were thinking about. So we had a completely different notion about what the create side might be. So, well, if we go one over to the left, we have more controllers plugged in. We'll need the other controllers. We have these very physical, and you jump and press circle. Circle
so
to
it's
pick
like
up.
Physical Poppet.
Well, let's just see. So we can go over here.
Remember.
So we're now using the right stick to move these little rollers around, and we're using R1 to then scribble. I think okay, Mark's isn't working. So
There's a bug.
the idea is
look.
that...
it works on thin air, but not... Oh, there we go.
Okay, it's working now. So the idea is that all the creation would be via these physical tools. So you... then if you want to kind of paint the top, well, how do you paint the top? You can't reach up there. So then there was the idea that, well, it's fine. I'm going to get the jetpack.
And the jetpack is the only one of these tools that survived, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true, yes. Even the visual might be similar. But the idea is that now that I can lift Mark up, and now Mark could somehow, with a lot of care, if he doesn't swing around too much, paint a beautiful... Yeah.
It's only letting me paint on the
So,
pictures.
of course, this was like a really fun approach to creating. But you could spend an hour trying to make something.
Yeah.
And you'd have really enjoyed it, but the result would be kind of rubbish.
Yeah.
So,
I remember this period of time now. This was sort of like where we couldn't decide whether to keep it really platform gamey or actually embrace the idea of it being a genuine game creation kind of side of things. And I think we came to the agreement that to expect people to build whole levels with that kind of thing would probably get quite tedious.
yeah.
Although the hairdryer is super cool though.
Yeah, this was fun. And I think there used to be a sponge gun. We'd fire a sponge and that would stick to things.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
right.
you'd add by firing the sponge gun, you'd cut with the hairdryer.
You lose the...
But then I think if you wanted to cut wood, you'd need a special chisel or something.
Yeah,
we had this
completely
whole
physical tools,
family of pure physicality. And some of those physical tools did remain a bit in the final game in Little Big Planet. Like we wanted to be very physical. You're making physical things with physical joints and physical materials.
Is that just crashed or is that just somebody switched it off?
Oh, we've lost signal.
I think it crashed. So that's what you get when you play old builds. But it's a good moment to move on, actually. Oh, yeah, and it's even called... we're going to get more people in. Oh, we've got Rex here visiting. Someone else can have a mic. There you go, Dave. Rex, can we hear you? Shout. What country are you in? So everyone, I don't know if you can see Rex. Let's take him to the camera. Oh, hang on. We're taking Rex virtually to our Twitch audience. Oh, look at this. This is science happening. Rex, say hello to the Twitch viewers.
Hello!
I don't know where the speaker is on this thing, so I don't know where to put the mic. There we go. Line it up with the parallax. There we go. So Rex helped us with the brand identity, and then eventually we lured you in for good, and you became the director of Tearaway. So can you give us a 5-second version of that story?
It involved pink. There's a lot of pink involved. Just having it was really fun to just work with everyone, like all my sort of best friends from previous job to try and like bring out the personality of everyone that was making the games. And I think at the time, like a lot of studios were very sort of shiny and very serious, and it felt that we could make something that was much more personal about everyone that was actually making the games.
Yeah, I think it's weird, isn't it? When you look back, at the time, the game industry was very different. Like we've had the indie explosion since then, but at the time it felt like we were indie without knowing what that word meant. We were trying to do some of the things that the indies now have a opportunity to do now, and we didn't quite know what that was called. And it was great that Sony supported us. But you're now furiously creating for your new Kickstarter back game, and it's a whole new world out there, isn't it? Really.
It is, yeah. I mean, there's just so many games being developed at the moment. But I think, it feels like, back 10 years ago, like you were saying, we were kind of like, ahead of the game a bit.
So to wrap up, Rex, thank you for joining us. Fondest memory or worst memory from making LBP?
Probably the ripping up all of the floor because it was just so hot in the building and we all started losing our minds.
Yeah, it was a hot summer. Thank you, Rex. Right, we shall return to our sofa. Farewell.
Bye, Rex.
Bye, Rex. Right, thank you. I'm just going to take this opportunity to tell everyone on the stream, do not forget, I shall now show you, please email your PSN ID to this email address, focus, pull, come on, camera, hello@mediamolecule.com. It's on manual. Okay, the focus depth is down here. So please send us your PSN ID, and we will award you a special 10th anniversary pin that you can only get by emailing hello@mediamolecule.com, and you need to include your PSN ID, otherwise we can't help you. So please do. It's brilliant. It's exclusive. It's only available today. So, right, what's up next? What should we talk about now, people? What are we doing? GDC. So the first time you lot.
So who have we got here? So we're basically talking green lights. That was January through to August, and then we did the green light in August. What are we got a build that we're looking at? So let's take a little trip down memory lane. I actually don't know if you've seen this for a really long time. So let's take a look. So this actually looks a lot further on than the green light. This is GDC, because this is GDC. Okay, so Leo.
Hello.
Hello. Producers. Yeah. Leo used to be basically like my counsellor. We used to have a chat every day, didn't we, Leo?
Yeah, good cop and bad cop.
Yeah, Leo was the good cop.
Oh, thanks. Oh, that's harsh.
Well, I was terrified of Pete here, because the first time he came to the office, we showed him Little Big Planet as it was. It was much more rubbish than this. And it basically said, if it's not a fun game, I'm not interested in working on it. And I thought that was a really... No, but it was a terrifying but really honest and good and useful thing for us to say. Like, to have a champion of good gameplay from the beginning was huge, and obviously we championed it ourselves internally, but to have someone on the outside
I think
who
you
really
guys should
cared
just keep
about
playing.
that was huge. So thank you for being bad cop. It's not all bad being bad cop. And you were on stage for the announce.
Yeah,
what's that like?
yeah. I think it was funny coming up to the announce, because we knew it was a big deal. I don't know if you guys quite took it as seriously as we did.
No, I
at
just
the
remember
time.
you were just like, you need to
And
be in
we're
this
like-
meeting room at 8 a.m.
Yeah, and it was like 8 a.m. came, and we're like, oh, we just popped out for breakfast at a really nice restaurant, what we know, the other side of the bridge, when we were in San Fran. But eventually, we did it, and we did it, and we did it, we did it, we did it, and we did it so many times that eventually, I think we got it right. But I do remember one thing saying to Mark, when you place the flowers, yeah, you can place decorations down, but don't do anything silly with the flowers. And Mark accidentally placed a flower, which looked a little bit rude, which was totally accidental, apparently, which was exactly the thing he was told not to do. Yeah, which was kind of a theme for the whole project, I guess, really, I think.
The thing I remember about GDC, there was you getting us in a room and drilling us like a sergeant, and I'm thinking, I need to chill out a little bit. But then actually being really grateful for that when we arrived to see where we were presenting it. I remember walking into the room, and it was like a scene out of Lord of the Rings or something. There was like, I don't know how many chairs there were. It just looked like infinite chairs to me. And then there was all the big props that had been made, put on the stage, and it was like, oh my God, Sony, you're really taking this seriously. So it was like, it was mind blowing, but. So I was actually thankful that you made us rehearse that thing a lot of times there.
And Sony, I don't think Sony had mentioned that they were going to put, all of that decoration. So you had the massive inflatable balls, all of the trees, and I think the best moment for me was this audience is usually relatively passive. They're usually kind of mostly disengaged with what's on screen, and everyone was screaming and shouting, and just the whole atmosphere was just incredible. I don't think anyone realised what we had until that moment where people were just kind of overwhelmed by it.
The story that I think is really funny, though, is like actually at the time the studio was above the bathroom shop, and so we were having this, we had this amazing moment of seeing the game get announced. But actually then the report was that the roof was leaking and that basically right next to all the dev kits. So it was like, a real sort of...
Max, you helped us find that amazing... But we're so nostalgic about the bathroom shop office because it was dirt cheap but perfect for a young studio, wasn't it? I mean, it was a short lease, but we actually stayed there for a long time.
Maybe 4 years we stayed there. Yeah, no, it was great.
And it had a long lineage of game developers in there. There was Ambient was in there, and... the Play Canvas guys, Turbulence, that's right, those are in there. And it's unfortunately now been knocked down.
Yes, and I think rebuilt, but we won't be going there.
My biggest memory of the GDC announce was the night before the big announce, going into the hotel room in San Francisco and typing in to Google Little Big Planet, and just got nothing, absolutely nothing. And then the night after the announce, typing in Little Big Planet and got 3 million hits.
Wow.
And it was like, oh my God.
That was very special. We didn't actually know the name, so in this demo that you can see us playing, we hadn't actually agreed on the name, and Chris and other people at Sony were all debating furiously about what we should call. And Edge magazine actually ran a cover with a different name.
They ran Little Big World.
Yeah.
No. What we said to them was,
Oh,
we don't
Little
know what
Big
the
Bang.
name is. We said it's probably going to be Little Big Bang.
That's right.
So they then picked up on the bang bit, not the Little Big bit, because they would have been right with that.
That's
and
right.
on the front it says PlayStation goes with a bang, and the bang was the bit we changed out.
Yeah.
And then I think Mark threatened to quit over Little Big
Oh.
Land.
Yeah. And then Little Big World, we
wasn't
couldn't.
having Little Big Land. Wasn't having it.
So the process was going. We were in this office above the bathroom showroom. The process was me on the phone to you and Michael, you giving me a suggestion saying, listen, I think this will work. Me saying, listen, give me 10 minutes. Running back into the room, mentioning it. Mark swearing for about 10 minutes. Me then coming back to the phone and saying, I'm not sure that one's going to work. Can you think of something else? And that process lasted for 2 or 3 hours.
Little Big was you, wasn't
Little
it?
Big was me.
It
Well,
was you.
I was Little Big World, and for
Yeah.
one reason or another we couldn't have that. And then it was Little Big Planet, and we were like, oh, but that's just rubbish. It's like it just doesn't, Little Big Planet, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
LBP, the acronym doesn't work either. And then it actually,
And it
it's
just-
just
It's,
perfect.
yeah, totally perfect.
But it was days, if not hours before.
Remember
GDC.
we got the company to help us
And then the
think of the
website.
names.
Oh my God, the names. Oh my, the naming company. Oh, we
I know.
every now and then we search through our email records and find them because they
Jam
were.
Spun.
They
Bonsai was up there.
Yeah, Bonsai was not so bad,
Yeah.
but like some of them were very questionable.
Jam sacks.
I think we did that for Dreams as well. And we had an equal. I think it's a
Oh,
good thing
yeah.
to do at a point when you need a laugh.
Yes.
So here's a competition. I think we need to wrap this bit up, but here's a competition I want to run. Can you on the stream suggest what we should have called Little Big Planet? Suggest a name retrospectively for Little Big Planet, and we'll give some sort of a prize, silly prize. It's not a big serious thing, but if you can please suggest what we should have called the game, I think it'd be quite funny, and we'll announce it on our Twitter feed.
If I can just say one more thing though on GDC, right? I will never ever forget the onstage announce, because we did the onstage announce, and we knew there was a crash in there, and if it crashed, we had no backup. It was just a nightmare, and we got through it, and we did the skateboard bit, and we hadn't finished the demo, and we did the skateboard bit, and people just started cheering, and this wave just went, the thousands of people, it went right through, and we hadn't finished. And I remember, and people, we had to stop, and I'd looked at Mark, and Mark like looked at me as if like what to do next, and I just shrugged my shoulders. I looked at Phil Harrison, was on because you and Phil were on the other side, and and then the wave just got bigger and bigger, and people are just whooping and hollering, and Phil was calming people down. I wish he hadn't actually, but it just went on so long, and then we kind of went, right, now we have to finish the demo. Then we finished it off, and then people went mad again. But that's the best moment.
It was amazing.
ever.
So we're gonna.
I think
We're gonna jump
no,
forward.
we've got,
No, we've got to say.
some. Leo has some pictures.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So
So
these
go up
are
to
like-
the camera.
these
We've got to
are
show them
some,
to the
some
lens.
pictures.
Okay. So
So
while we're showing the pictures, we're going to do a quick scene change. Thank you so much, Pete and Leo, for coming down from Liverpool. Legends
that picture
in the
he
games
was the
industry.
voiceover in Portugal.
Legends to us all.
So he was like the Portuguese version of Stephen Fry, basically. That was you and me, Mark, when we were in Leipzig. Totally sober, having a good time. And that's the Go team, who did the theme tune for Little Big Planet. Yeah, and that was it, on the recorder. That was it. Thank you.
Okay, so next up we've got some of the designers. We're fast forwarding a little bit, and we're going to force Dan, hopefully he's here, to play the Wheel of Death, because that was his level and it's so hard, so he now has to play it on stream live. Dan, can you beat the Wheel of Death?
Is that what we're doing right
Yeah,
first?
that is what you're doing.
Oh,
Well,
I'll do it first.
I don't know, that's what it says on my sheet.
No, we're going to play.
There's no sheet. This is all okay. So what I want to do is quickly introduce yourselves. I'm going to duck out the sofa. I'm going to get off the sofa. So there's a spot here. Moo, do you want to get up here? Matt, somebody. Okay, come on. So I want a quick intro. These are some of the original Media Molecule crew who've all come back, and they're going to talk you through the levels, the processes, any sort of remembrances you have. All right, let's start with. Go on.
What am I doing?
Say hello.
Hello.
Come on, Matt.
My name is Mark Stevenson.
Hi, I'm Daniel Lever, and I was a level designer on Little Big Planet 1. So was Mark.
I've got one. Can I use this one? I'm Kenny Young. I was, what was my job title? Audio designer on Little Big Planet.
You were the sound department, is what I remember.
Yeah, it was me. So Alex maintains, and it's tragically probably true, that the reason I was hired is because on my demo reel was a video of me beating a chicken with a cricket bat. And I'd like to think it was other aspects of my refined aesthetic sensibilities, but Alex is like, no, you hit a chicken with a cricket bat. I mean, we had to have you. It was a dead chicken, not a live chicken. And so I learned this trick from Ren Kleiss, his sound designer from Fight Club. He gave this talk at a conference, and I since realized that he was talking about hitting a cooked chicken. I hit a raw chicken, and there was little bits of raw chicken meat all over me in the studio, and it was disgusting. No, but it was stuffed with celery and walnuts to give it extra crunch. So you know.
And I'm Victor. I was making levels on Little Big Planet 1 and 2, and yeah.
Hey, I'm Matt. I was an audio programmer on Little Big Planet.
And I'm Moo, and I was a gameplay programmer on Little Big Planet.
I remember when you first started working at Media Molecule and your ex-boss phoned me up to say, please don't poach our staff, and if you're going to do any more, let us know first. And I think I had a little bit of a showdown with him, actually, saying that it's none of my business what you're...
I was going to say, I'm glad that Luke left and they just didn't care. And then when I left, they're like, we need to make a phone call about this.
So I've been told I'm going to be driving the levels today, right, for a little sec. So the important thing is that we're the level designers who built... so we should be really good. We're actually missing one person, who's Kengo, who can't be here because he's ill. Yeah, please, of course. Okay, so Kengo can't be here, but he says... can I scan it first, or is it just going to be oh my god. I remember the advert well. A large cone topped with multicolored balls of ice cream. Oh, I know what he's talking about now. Sorry, I just seen it. Each one with a name on it, and in the center, a hole with the words "you." I'd heard nightmare stories about working within the games industry, like a machine modeling blades of grass for the next big budget epic. But this mysterious unknown studio seemed to be thinking differently. Shall I carry on? Is it?
Let's do a cliffhanger. We'll have more from Kengo.
More from Kengo.
Can I comment? I just so I remember similar job adverts, and so I applied to join the company after the GDC demo because it was amazing, and I think it was probably a bit of a watershed moment for you guys as well.
Well, it's definitely a good recruitment drive, that's for sure.
But I mean, I saw that and I was like, this is awesome, I want to work there. But I'd seen I'd been to the company's website and stuff, and I was just like, these guys are just a website without a game. I was like, I don't want to work at a company like that. So it wasn't until the game was actually announced that I wanted to work there. But Kengo obviously had more insight than I did. So well done, Kengo.
I think we were struggling to hire people actually before we announced that. So
that's why you hired me.
Yeah. Well, obviously, yeah, because as we said before, we'd known Victor from Ragdoll Kung Fu, so we kind of got him over, and immediately he was doing all this stuff in the level editor that we didn't think was possible. So it was amazing. We had to just keep him.
The rocket ship. Do you remember the rocket ship?
Yeah.
The cheese rocket ship.
Or like a hot air balloon or something that you made. I seem to remember.
It's basically just realized that you could flip the gravity of a material and it floated up, and you liked that, and I got a job.
Change your numbers.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in the driving seat, and I've been told I'm supposed to play one of the levels that I'm infamous for, which is called the Wheel of Death, in the bunker. It's where everyone gave up on the game, but I'm not going to play it yet because I don't think I'm good enough. So I'm going to play Serpent Shrine, which is one of Kengo's.
Oh, this was
Well, we all
great.
kind of worked it, but it's a really good multiplayer one. So let's play on our own, right? Yes. Have we got 4 controllers? All right, let's go. So it's more of like a warm-up, I'd say, playing this one for us. In fact, can someone else hold the mic while I?
I haven't seen this for a very, very long time.
Okay, so I'm the dragon. Nice.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I know you've got 4. Sorry.
You got 4? Got 4? Right, let's go. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Which this was Mexico, wasn't it? The Mexico.
Yeah, we didn't call it. We called it the desert. I think we were quite clever with how we named our levels. But it's basically like an Aztec kind of level. Oh my goodness!
We're supposed to be Mexico inspired.
Yeah, definitely. And then we had an awesome Day of the Dead one with the wedding. Yeah. The wedding. And are we supposed to go down here? No.
I think it's
harder without sound because you can't hear it coming.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's right, Kenny. That's exactly why I died.
Sounds really important.
Hey, yeah, of course. I remember in the sequel to this game, we actually decided that most people should have.
Oh, I made that worm. I seem to remember.
Nice. We remembered that people didn't like having 3 lives for multiplayer or anything like that, so we tend to make them like infinite lives until bosses because it's more fun. But this level would try like your patience. I remember with.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we go. For example,
I can't see half the
one of us dies now, we won't come back, so we have to be really careful.
Oh, and those are like the embryonic bounce pads.
Nice. Oh, it's okay because
No.
There we go.
I remember these bits.
Okay, it's all on me now. I'm at the top. I'm the dragon. Oh. Little jumps. Oh no!
Oh, bye.
See, cooperation.
What was the word? There was a word. Competition?
No, but that was Sony America came up with that.
Okay. So we're trying to go down. So definitely
Nice.
This is tricky.
Okay, so we're left on the top.
Although,
Okay.
let's be patient here.
I remember Kengo putting this level together and the methodology I was amazed by. He's such a
Yeah, I
an
think
organised. He's so organised and such a ninja. It's made me sick.
I think Kengo actually really taught me about the importance of modularity.
Yeah,
so like the
that's-
philosophy behind a lot of the levels are about keeping it modular, so it's
To rearrange.
yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Like it's just cleaner and nicer to play sometimes as well because it just feels.
I definitely remember being
polished.
really impressed by the way that this level was created.
Yeah.
It was like it was almost
We've
like a
actually got
revelation.
we've got some white box levels coming up later. So when Dan decides to, he can show you guys the sort of early stages of a level, and that was even before we had a lot of editor features. So there'll be a lot of sort of raw level design to be seen in a moment.
I seem to remember being Kengo again. We talk about Kengo. He's not here, but he did really teach me about the idea that you can't just have empty spaces in a level. You've got to have content. And I was like, but this is a bit more atmospheric. And I think that kind of came from the fact we didn't have a lot of tools at the start. And I was used to, is that a secret or is that the way? And I think, is this secret? And I was used to sort of creating. Oh yeah, crikey. Have you got one? Have you got the right one? I've got the right one. Yes! Oh, goodies! But yeah, he taught me that really, there's no excuse to have no content. It's like, we used to have this phrase that it was the antithesis of design where we'd say gameplay here. Do you remember that? We'd go, we'll put some gameplay here.
It'll be really fun here.
And that meant
promise.
we hadn't thought it through properly.
I remember a
and it
bug
wasn't
here now. I remember that block used to slide back to the left after you went in. Just, I don't know, flashback.
Come on, guys.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Oh.
While these guys carry on playing, one of the unsung heroes of game development is IT. Like, they make the studio run basically, and it or not run. And I think we should hear from our original IT hero, Paul, who, basically, what happens if all the computers go down is that no one can do any work, and you just go and play Scrabble or something. So Paul, what's it like doing IT for a startup?
Oh, it was horrible. I remember my interview, and I came in and you asked me what I would do, and I said I would change absolutely everything, and I did. Every night, working from 6 in the night to 6 in the morning at some times to change everything, so that you guys could still work during the day. That was fun. In the original office, it was all about the power as well. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So PS3 dev kit. So this is actually apparently the early Guerrilla studio. They've since moved. They had to actually have generators installed on the roof, diesel generators, so that they could lifted in by helicopter, so that they could build Killzone. We weren't quite on that level, but we were definitely.
We blew a substation.
We built a substation.
No, we
destroyed one.
We blew a substation. We blew most of the power, the big 100 amp fuses into our building.
It was a bit like that scene in Alien when they go into the mothership and there's like eggs everywhere and they're just like, what is this place? An electrician came into the MM offices and saw like power brick upon power brick under everyone's desk, like the dev kit and 2 PCs, and they're just like, what are you people doing? And then the substation blew up. And then we added aircon, and then the substation blew up.
That was my favourite time as well, because after about a year of working there, every other month I was rebalancing the power, and then you'd hire more people, squeeze more people into the office, and again the fuse would blow or something else would go horribly wrong. But yeah, it was epic times. Yep, we had a massive diesel generator when the substation blew, and that ran out of diesel, which was fun again. Basically, I loved my life at that office. It was brilliant. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The design corner was
there
was no aircon.
Yeah.
I think we wanted to open the window, but if we did, the rest of the office got hot because of the aircon shut down or something.
I remember in December, everyone was dressed in shorts. It was snow outside. All the windows were open, and it was just ridiculous. It was great fun, but ridiculous.
And how did the audio department manage to actually master everything? Matt here was the audio coder. You'd been working on the Getaway, hadn't you, beforehand? So what happened there?
I think my boss said there's this company, Media Molecule, and they're looking for an audio programmer. He was like, you wouldn't be interested in that, would you? I think it's Kenny, and I was like, no, it sounds rubbish. But then, no, I think someone had asked Sony if they had any spare people to help out. And then I saw that GDC demo, and I was just blown away by that. So I was like, yes, please. I would like to go there very much.
And the audio was rubbish, so you're like, right, I need to help.
So then we made some beautiful physics sounds, didn't we? And
can the people on the live stream hear the game audio? So we can't, so we're totally making up. But this is this kind of level where there's a lot of stuff moving around, and a lot of those sounds, they're not placed to make this level sound nice. They're all actually sort of procedural in the sense that the little pistons are making sounds. Obviously, the stuff that's exploding making sounds, and that was a lot of the philosophy in Little Big Planet 1, is that we just let the content sort of score itself. So Matt and I spent a lot of time, particularly on the physics audio system, so that when the different materials in the game are sort of rubbing against each other and hitting each other and colliding and rolling around, that they sort of, without anyone having to spend ages polishing their level, it will just sound good. So we started out with these crazy conversations about what sound does a bit of wood hitting a bit of cloth make. And so I've got a thing about cricket bats, clearly, because we had a baseball bat in my room where I remember hitting the sofa in my room with the baseball bat and saying, this is hardwood, this is soft material, it creates a soft sound. And this real profound insight about, so we came up with this fancy system where rather than, I'll not bore you with the details, but normally when you do physics, up to that point when you did physics audio in games, it was really boring, and every time you added the material to the game, you had a train timetable matrix of when this hits that, you have to create a new sound. We were just we're not, well, actually I asked for that, and Matt said.
I said no.
And I was like, all right, and he's like, there has to be a better way, so we came up with this rules-based system, which at the time was pretty innovative, and
wasn't the rule just the soft thing wins?
yeah, that's the basic one, but then we found all these edge cases where that sounded wrong, so it's there's a couple of high-level rules, and then there's all these little anal ones, if the thing is moving faster than the other thing, and blah, 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 and so it was 6 months' work of pain, but
I don't think we ever either of us ever really knew the rule set, did we?
No, it was too
Between us,
complex.
we knew it, but
it's
it
kind of
was
worrying
like-
with you, like, because programmers always boast about how complex their mind palaces are, but like, nope, not with the physics audio on Little Big Planet.
Let's take an even step backwards. And like, if you've ever seen behind the curtain, we're showing lots of new stuff today. And Dan is going to show you a white box level in Little Big Planet. So this is from 2007, I think, or six or seven. And Dan, this is how we presented our work. And Mark, you were sort of helping out design as well.
No, just that image makes me this probably came out around about the same time as Mario Galaxy or something. Because I remember seeing the lighting in Mario Galaxy and thinking, that's really nice, let's have a bit of that. So, yeah, Dan can explain, but it's... I mean, this is a pretty standard way of designing levels in lots of games companies, is you'll tend to white box it first, which is literally just get the geometry in there and the gameplay and not worry about making it look pretty. So this is... I don't know, is this a white box that actually ended up as a proper level?
No, this never made it into a proper level. But what was nice was I didn't have...
this was the graveyard.
It's a graveyard, so we knew what the theme was going to be. We knew it was going to be Mexico, and we wanted lots of the Day of the Dead influences.
Yeah.
We wanted lots of the skull faces, not the sugar skulls, and all the big painted stuff. We couldn't do... we didn't have a huge number of textures at the time. Oh, sorry. We didn't have a huge number of textures at the time. We had like quite simple ones, or the Hessian sacks. So I tried to build one as a white box, so I didn't use any textures. I just used shapes and a bit of lighting. And this is the kind of tools we had. We could make flippers and joints, and we had little collectibles, but there wasn't a huge amount.
And if you look at the shapes as well, they're really different, because at this point I don't think we had the CSG, so you couldn't just stamp down shapes. You actually had to drag the shapes out with the vertex tool one by one. So if you look at the sort of look of the levels, they're massively different, because it was just much easier to make angular shapes than it was to make those kind of cut out shapes.
And I think this was before the layers was completely defined, right?
That's right.
So you could, I seem to remember you could set curves, like actually kind of walk into the screen at some point. You didn't use it very much, but it was like...
didn't use that at all.
Yeah.
I know that...
Alex had this passionate idea.
Oh, I really wanted... What's that?
Although the game was kind of 2.5D, you wanted to be able to sort of wrap... It's almost like the level was on a big ribbon that could sort of wrap around any shape. And he spent ages on that, and no one was really interested, and nobody used it. So
that one got cut out. I was obsessed by that old Amiga game where you could wrap the level around a tower. But anyway, we have to move on. There's so many people in the background that we want to see.
Yep.
So thank you very much, designers. A round of applause for the designers. Thank you very much. So the question is, how do you make DLC? And the answer is you hire really good people. And the people that we're bringing on today are called Fireproof, and you may know them from a little game called The Room. But before they made The Room, they helped us make a lot of the backgrounds in Little Big Planet 2, and also they made the Metal Gear Solid DLC pack, which was our first DLC pack. So guys, introduce yourselves and talk us through what it was like working with Media Molecule, starting Fireproof, and all of that story, really. So.
Hi, my name's Dave, and that's Barry over there.
Hello.
And yeah, we got involved fairly early on with Little Big Planet. As soon as the game was out, we were kind of drafted in to do some DLC packs, and we just started Fireproof. So you guys were our first ever job.
Our first clients. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Barry actually helped us do a lot of the voices on Ragdoll Kung Fu as well. So we were friends for a long time. So he's the voice.
It was all down to me.
Even the first introduction videos of Little Big Planet had Barry's voice in it. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
wow, that's
Do you like
right.
the sponge?
Do you like the sponge?
But working,
oh my
you know,
God.
working with you guys and Fireproof was like a gift from the gods. It was the most exciting, enjoyable thing, you know.
I'd say right back at you with that one, because you guys are so freeform and like so creative and cool, and coming from our backgrounds, it was sort of fresh air with that.
Yeah, I always tell the story when I do talks and conferences actually about these guys that I always try, like when I try and describe what we did as a Fireproof, as when we were doing freelance artwork, that Media Molecule was the best model of that we ever had. It was the kind of ideal model we had, where we just turned up and we would blue sky with you guys, and we would go away and just design it all, and you guys had trust in us to go, yep, off you go, you just go and do it, and then we would come back and surprise you. and the week or two later.
Every time I think like we've got a lot of images that
that's
some
the
of
Metal
the
Gear Solid
backgrounds
background.
that you guys did. Which is this one?
The Metal Gear Solid one.
It's Metal Gear Solid. Yeah.
That's the Metal Gear Solid, and definitely the.
This is our earliest and our worst, I should say.
that was amazing. Like I remember like Barry was saying, the process that we did
That's not Metal Gear
with
Solid
with
over
you
there, by
guys
the
is
way.
that we kind of said we're doing a Metal Gear Solid pack. Here is what we're doing, and then you go, you do some prototypes, and you came back with the designs of the environments in like no time at all.
Yes, I mean, like the way we worked it with you guys was obviously you gave us the theme and the general idea for it, and then it was like, okay, go and brainstorm, get some stuff together, come back in a few days and kind of show us what you're thinking. And it was kind of like that sort of freedom where it's kind of you've
And that never
accepted
changed
us as
then.
an art team, and it's like, you know, kind of take our experience on board and kind of know what we're doing. And
everyone we did got easier.
Yeah.
Because it was just like there was just more and more trust there, and
we got more and more in sync with you
And
guys.
actually, everything got better as well. Every successive one, I think, was better than the last.
I remember as well that you not only did an amazing design work on the artwork, but you really understood the pipeline of Little Big Planet. And I remember Dave and Barry going and talking with our tools people and you just knew more about the project tech and limitations and things than I did. Like it was amazing how you integrated yourself in the project, really.
I remember for me it was a real eye-opener to how good outsourcing can be when it's done right. So I think initially before we worked with you guys, my memory was our mates have left Criterion to form their own company. Guess we're gonna have to help them out because a bunch of muppets are bound to fail otherwise.
Oh, and by the way, you did help us out because you gave us a 40 grand loan, if you remember, to buy computers because we just started the company.
But you know, it's like, well, they're gonna fail, but let's give them a little bit
Give
of
us
life.
a bit of a helping hand.
But actually,
and,
we were totally blown away, and the thing that clicked with me is like, God, if you use a good outsourcing company, they're actually going to be really nice to work with because they kind of probably want to carry on working with you. Because we'd already at that stage started getting the concept of like jaded. Some employees might be a bit jaded and it's hard to get good work out of them or whatever, and this was like, God, this is like amazing.
It's like the movie business, really. When you have teams that assemble according to the work, and then everybody moves on.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's when we started the business. That's what we wanted to be. We didn't want to be people who just. We didn't want to be a team of artists who just produce lampposts and trees for people. We wanted to go the other way.
We didn't need to be like micromanaged too much either, because it was kind of like we knew what we were doing and we could give you guys what
and
you
so
wanted.
the service we wanted to offer people was, no, we want to take the load off you guys, take it away and take it on ourselves so that you don't have to worry about it. And like I said, the best of all worlds would be if we came back and surprised you at what we showed and where you were like, oh, that's actually really interesting what you're doing.
I was blown away by Dave. Was always the king of research. Like when we talk about like the Pantheon, we did like one that was inspired by the Pantheon classical temple.
I love making that background.
And
it was cool.
Every time we talked about a theme, and research is one of the things that you guys do to a level that I have never seen. Like the material that you prepare and the investment that you put in that, and then the lighting, Barry. You did a lot. You did all the lighting on them. So I think like there is a lot of research that you guys put in those backgrounds, wasn't it?
One of the things that's slightly on a tangent to the actual work that we did here, but
It was. I think at the time, at the time that was like I had read and heard and talked to people. So many people had failed with that model because they
use this one. I think it's.
So many other outsourcing companies had failed with that model because they try and do too much. They save up too much money and then they blow it all in one go. And if it doesn't work, they're shagged. So We wanted to be very careful about that, which is why when we made the room, we spent what we had in the bank, but the business was still going. It would still keep going.
You were still doing outsourcing stuff.
Yeah, all the time. In fact, even during the room 2, all the way through the room 2, we were still doing outsourcing. So we never sort of sat on our asses about it, I guess you'd say. We thought it was always going to be a leg up, and we should treat it with respect in that way, because it could be, it really helped us, I think, in the long run.
So I haven't been listening because I've heard Barry talk before. He's a very beguiling talker. I've been told we have to wrap it up and move it on to finaling a game. Have you got any comments on finaling it? How does one go on? Barry and Fireproof, words of wisdom on finaling games. You've done that a few times in your life.
Be brutal. That's all I can say. Be brutal with your ideas and your quality.
Yeah, I think you've got to kind of go at it with your eyes wide open and just cut out all the rubbish that doesn't need to be in it and just focus on all the good stuff.
So up next, thank you Fireproof, thank you for your epic work, brilliant. So next up, we're going to be moving on to 2 more sort of unsung areas of game development. I'm going to leap into the sofa. Look at that, athletic, so elegant. Siobhan is back, and in a moment, momentarily, we will be bringing in Testology. Now, Testology are a legendary company to many in the games industry because you need good QA to get a game out. But before we get to Testology, I want to talk about finaling a game. So we have with us here the man with the big American guns. Show me your guns. Well done. This is Luke.
For you.
Luke,
That's for
tell,
you.
Tell us about yourself.
So my name's Luke. I worked here from 2007 to 2000 through LBP2 a bit, and I'd shipped one of the first PlayStation 3 games. So
Resistance.
Resistance Fall Man for Insomniac Games in LA, and then I came here and we got to ship LBP, which was amazing.
But our true job, because Luke and I were partners in this, was keeping Alex Evans in line.
Oh yeah,
and David Smith, wherever he is.
Yeah.
The two we were. That was a.
I admire, whoever took over that challenge. I guess I just left you with that to do that solo.
I miss you.
Yeah.
So to explain a little bit to the audience what a tools programmer, which is not really doing justice to what Luke does. You want people on your team with different kind of personalities. You want people who are finishers, who are going to just have that eye for detail, like Barry and Dave were talking about. But you also want people who are the sort of visionaries and the experimenters. And Luke had just come off this grueling. Now shipping a launch title. Have you got a memory from shipping Resistance? Because that was a PS3 launch title. That must have been tough.
So I was in LA, but being on the phone with Japanese engineers saying that they were, while they were promising that they would fix things that prevented our games from shipping, but PlayStation was coming out imminently. And I don't know if people know, but there's a whole lead time to physically printing the Blu-rays. And so you have to so they're promising us that they'll fix. And we're how is anybody going to ship their games? Surely this
but you
affects
did it.
everybody.
Resistance was one of the biggest first games on the PS3. And then when we received the resumes from Luke and Moo, we couldn't believe it because we were a startup, and suddenly we've got these.
Exciting. I'll never forget it. It was post GDC, and we came back, and this CV was sitting there, and we actually internet stalked you.
All right.
And I'll tell a last story. Maybe Testology can start shuffling onto the sofa now. But the amazing thing was that we couldn't get a visa for those guys because we were told they didn't have sufficient PS3 experience. And then we were like, well, I can't think of anyone who's got more PS3 experience than somebody who shipped a launch title. So Luke, before Testology Takeover, and it's the Testology Takeover coming up, but Luke, what is your best/worst memory and top tip for someone who wants to get into the games industry?
I think my best memory of the shipping process was in the old office, and it was you, me, Siobhan, and Dave Smith, and there was just I just remember being Dave wanted to. So it was Dave or you or somebody wanted to keep iterating on change something. Physics. And I just stood up and was like, I have bugs here. We won't be able to ship this game. Fix my bugs. And then, I just tipped the desk over what the heck? I thought we were shipping.
And that's what makes Luke the ideal programmer for these guys. Last thing, tip to get in the industry, what would you say?
Oh yeah, just download something like Unity and start making games and
make something.
Yeah, make something for sure, and that process is great. And so yeah, let's just pass the. I mean, without like good QA and testing, you're never going to ship anything. So it's a good segue to these guys.
Yeah.
It's great to work with.
Take it away, Andy. Introduce your crew, the original testing.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Robbo. I've just got to hold that out briefly because I've been told not to do that. I think I might be renowned for that, so I will not do that. It's okay, everyone. So we've got Mark Manowski, we call him Manowski. We've got Costa, we've got Phil, Kev Watt, Charlotte, Penners, and obviously everyone knows Siobhan. So I'm Robbo. Obviously ran Testology, which still does. So we were brought in the early days of Little Big Planet to... It was so early, yeah. It was pretty much at the start, really. Yeah, we were doing gameplay and stuff and just helping with the builds and just giving gameplay feedback about how we could improve little things to the green light. The GDC build that we played about 1 million times, all of us. Oh my God, we like dreaming. Yeah, you'd just go to bed dreaming about it, wouldn't we? Oh. Yeah, and I think, what was that, Kev? Oh my God. And I think it was just like then when you saw the snippets of the green light, you just wanted the real game, the whole game to start coming together. I think that was a cool part, you just like, oh, come on, let's get the levels together and let's start building it and playing it. Because, obviously you're testing a lot of features at the start, so to see it all come together was the coolest part. But, yeah.
Yeah, because you guys you've been part of the journey like the entire time, like pretty much. So you were 10 as well, aren't you?
Yeah,
it's like, so
10 years.
Testology's 10, which is awesome.
Yeah,
and
10
so,
years,
happy
like
birthday,
that.
which is really cool. And then someone appeared from the woodwork. This young dapper gentleman, Costa.
So I was part of a small 4-person team from Sony's first party QA, and we were kind of an embedded team within Media Molecule, and that was my break into the industry and everything, and I was very bright-eyed and full of passion at the start. Of course I still am today. Just
I love it.
We kind of worked on sort of different builds to what Testology we're looking at and everything, but it was cool because afterwards, when my contract ended with Sony, then Media Molecule offered me a contract and I became official tester #1.
Actually we should talk about that quickly because actually Sony with Media Molecule, Sony had no internal QA. Their QA was Testology, so we had the team there and we were running it day to day. And again, because we came from dev ourselves QA, it was a perfect fit. So it was sort of like Sony Testology, but we never saw Costa and that like that.
Yeah.
We're just trying to think of the other couple of people that was there.
There was Rory and Andy, and then Kat.
That's it, Kat.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, we were just trying to think about that. So that's going back 10 years. That's hard for my memory. But so actually we all got on really well, and we tried to run it all the same. Although Sony were told to do different things to what we were doing, but eventually it came to the point when Costas was the first and only QA person, right?
And I kind of remember as well a thing with testing of when we were finaling LBP1, then there was probably 10 Testology people in the main office with the rest of the studio, and it was very tight, but luckily the Sony people didn't need to be in there. We had a nice area still, so I always kind of felt bad about it. But
I'm sorry.
I was like, oh no, that's not great, but I'm enjoying my space still, so just missing out. But Kev here started off as Testology, and
started off at Lionhead with Robbo, and then joined Testology, and we did Little Big Planet 1, then Little Big Planet 2, and it was Little Big Planet 2 when I joined the Molecule team as embedded tester #2. I don't know, how many testers did we have by then? I'm not sure. And then Phil, you also worked at Testology.
Yeah, I started at Testology. I actually used to be a security guard before then, and I randomly applied for Testology for a job, and they didn't call me for 3 months. I thought, oh, that's that, isn't it? And then one day they just called me and said if I want to work at Little Big Planet, Media Molecule to work on. I didn't know who Media Molecule was, but I knew what Little Big Planet was. So I was like, oh, do you want to work on Little Big Planet? I was like, oh yeah, sure. Because I was an Xbox fanboy back then, so I didn't think there was anything on the PS3 that could convince me, but came over, started playing it. It was good. I actually made, because I only got work on the weekend, so every time I came round from North London to Guildford to work, it was actually costing me more than what I was earning, so I was making a loss just to come and work for Media Molecule.
It was all worth it.
Paid off in the end.
It was all worth it.
Yeah, but I think like one of the things I did just want to say about you as a team, like there was a very first UGC project on console since I guess the early days of consoles of Commodore 64, and you did such an amazing job. Like I feel like, how did you, aside from just probably all losing your minds, the whole sort of idea of doing UGC, what did that add and what was it like? And
it's more fun than testing a normal game, definitely. There's so much more to test and you get to be creative when you're testing. It was really good.
Yeah, I think that's a man thing, because it was quite hard when someone comes to you and you got to test a game that you actually can make anything you want to make. Yeah. So how do you test that? Yeah. So I suppose to a lot of test departments across, whether they're developers or publishers, that would frighten them, but we sort of embraced it, and I suppose from our background anyway, it didn't really frighten us. We just had to try and work out the best way to do it.
So do you mean your background at Lionhead was doing more God sort of?
Yeah, sort of open-ended stuff. Yeah, even back to the Bullfrog days. Yeah, it's they were always mad, tricky games to test, so it didn't really frighten us in that way. It was just how are we going to do it? But then it comes to we had cool people like Phil, Charlotte, Pandas, Kev, Costa, Manowski, and obviously all the other people that were involved that obviously aren't here today.
The hardest thing was sharing out the jobs, because you can't all do the fun job.
Yeah.
Testing create is the fun job, because you get to make stuff. But testing 4-player online, not so much fun.
Manowski, tell us, what was that one about all the playthroughs that you did? Come on.
How quick I did it? 7.5 hours, did a whole thing, single player, no dying, anything. That's
platinum.
Platinum, yeah, all the playthrough stuff. Oh, and as soon as you start one, clear data, do it again, 2 players. Oh no, half.
Yeah, I was going to say the thing is though, the playthroughs are really fun, but then create mode is just such a massive thing. So there's someone that has to be placing every sticker, rotating it, putting on each layer, making it bigger, making it smaller. And yeah, the test plan was ridiculous. It was it must have been.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we said 20,000. 20,000 checks. I think the hardest thing for us, Costa will back me up, is 4-player out of sync builds.
I was just going to say, you have create to test and everything, and then you need to do it online.
Yeah.
And then...
Boomtown.
Yeah.
The demon level Boomtown at the end.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what an out of sync is?
You can do it. You can throw away.
So I think early LBP1, there was a lot of times when you playing online, it was like your game has diverged and everyone would get thrown back. And that was basically when, it's really hard to explain, but you went out of sync kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, I think we've got to wrap up. Well, this is one of the best QA teams in the entire world. And LBP experience, LBP 1 and 2, with its very few bugs. Amazing, amazing job. Thank you so much.
How do we do that?
Fuck knows. Who knows?
I don't know how we do it. I don't know how we did that. But yeah, it's down to the Molecule, cool team, cool coders. Maybe not so much designers. I don't know, it's all of them. I'm only joking. Everyone. Thank you
to everyone
who's
tested.
Bye.
And beta participants as well.
Hello, it's me. I'm back. Right. So the next bit is exciting. You guys have been nominating levels that you'd like us to play, and luckily for you, I'm not going to be playing them. Instead, we have some incredibly well-qualified people. So you know Victor already. Here we have Steve Big Guns Belcher.
Hello.
And we have Johnny Beach.
Johnny Beach, yeah. Hi, everybody.
So these two guys are now some superhero designers on Dreams, our new game, but they both originally came from the community. So we thought, who better to play community levels than members of the community themselves? So,
community dudes.
So.
Hello, guys. Yeah, community dudes. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Take it away. So we have Mark here to play.
I presume you've still got a lot of levels that exist on Little
Yeah.
Big
I've still got some. Johnny, Jonee. We can probably search for it. And
Steve Big Guns.
Steve Big Guns. Yeah, exactly.
Actually, Steve, show us your big guns. Since Luke showed us his big guns, just give us a flex.
Go on, give us a big gun. Yeah.
Right.
Big guns.
So what's the first level that the community have nominated? Have you got it on a queue?
We do. Yeah. Who's got player 1? Okay, there you go. Who's in control of the I've got it now. Here we go. Okay, let's see if we can find one. So we've got a queue somewhere, haven't we? Community, here we go. My queue, there we go. Okay, so we asked the community, you guys, to send us in a load of levels, and we got a few levels coming in. We've got some of the levels that me and Steve made and everyone else part of the community. This is one of the ones that came in, and me and Victor were playing it earlier, and we liked it quite a bit, so we're going to see if we can go through it for a while. It's called The Temple of Monkey Madman.
By Actramon.
By Actramon, which is a pretty cool name. It's hard to pronounce, but it's a pretty cool name. So we'll have to get you guys, you'll have to talk through it, Alex, and everyone, and we'll see what you guys think of it as we're playing it. Oh, we got Spaff as well.
Yeah, we have a special guest, James the Spafford Spaff. I'm just going to just pause this level for 2 seconds if we can, and I'm going to bring Spaff up to the camera. So one moment, everybody. And Spaff, you have to yell. So hang on a second. Let's have Spaff in shot. There he is. Spaff.
Yay, Spaff.
Thank you for joining us. Memories of LBP, memories of James the Spaff Spafford. What? Tell us.
Memories? Well, my memories.
Yeah, hang on, let me make this louder. How do I, whoever...
It's already on maximum loudness, Alex.
It's on maximum loudness. Does anyone know where the mic is, the speaker is? No. Okay, anyway, Spaff, you'll just have to... top left corner, this one here, or here. Okay, hang on a second. I can do this. Right, double mic it. Spaff, tell us your memories of LBP.
Oh, I just want to give a huge shout out to every single person in the Little Big Planet community, because they made my job and my life at Media Molecule just so amazing, and I feel so privileged to have been part of such an amazing community. So thank you. Thanks to Little Big Planet Central and Little Big Network and just everyone. You're all the best.
And what are you up to today? You're in sunny America, getting ready for some crazy Double Fine action. That was
for Day of the Devs.
Day of the Devs.
It's our indie gaming festival.
Yes, we were part of that last year. It's an incredible chance to see the hottest, coolest games in town. So, when you were working as a community manager, how did you get the job? What was how did you get into Media Molecule?
There was an opening, and I happened to not have a job at the time and had a lot of free time, and so I made a fan site with my buddy Tom, and we basically just decided to do the job of community management. We made a fan site and did the best job out there, and then you guys thought that we were doing a good job and hired us.
Yay! The best bit was we were only hiring for one person, but Tom and Spaff arrived and said, you have to hire us like twins. And so we did, and they became the dynamic duo. And I think the community management is really a terrible word, because really you were the heart and soul of and the bridge between us and the growing, people who actually made Little Big Planet work, like John and Steve Big Guns, and the people who carry on playing Little Big Planet. And big props to Sumo, and they're carrying on the legacy that you started, really, and bringing LBP forward. What was the sort of favourite or worst moment that you can remember? Darkest or lightest?
Some of my favourite moments have been the game jams that we held in the offices, in the studio, and invited all the community to come in and hang out, and it was great to be able to see the process just firsthand and actually hang out with everybody. And all those people kind of went on to work on the Vita version and LBP3 and various DLC packs and stuff.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us, Spaff. We're now going to return to a critique of Actramon's level. Thank you very much, Spaff.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Spaff. Bye. Okay, let's do this. Sackboys, Tangled. Okay, where am I then?
That looks very pretty, this level.
Okay, let's do it. Okay. It's a temple about madmen, clearly.
Looks lovely,
Does look very nice. Okay, I like my my
Where am I?
costume. Oh no, dead. Who's that? Who's at the top?
Oh, have we got limited amount of lives on this one?
Unlimited, yeah, go for it. Swing across the gap. Who's that?
Mark off and ask
jump
where
up,
am I?
up.
That's your sort
that's my
state
catch.
of existence, really, isn't it?
Who am I?
Well, I really like the leopard print on the background. That's a really nice texture. It looks really cool.
Oh no, we haven't got the sticker for
I haven't
that.
got a sticker. That's right. Continue for the cave of doom. Oh, what's happened? No. Ah, no.
Oh, that's mean.
That is mean. You guys are all just jumping to your death. Oh, the camera's right.
Okay, streamers, people watching.
1, 2,
at
3,
home,
jump.
I want you to vote on who has the most style out of these three. We have.
I'm going to have to concentrate.
Yeah, concentrate, people. We've got Space Helmet Dude, who is
me. That's me.
That's
Yeah.
Johnny. We've got Steve on the.
No.
I can't even see Steve. He's died.
Okay, ready? Oh, wait,
I'm
you should come out.
the one with
on
the,
3, we go.
with
Ready?
the boy band
1,
quiff.
2, 3, go.
Right, I want the votes rolling in. Mark, Steve, or Johnny?
Oh, this is hard.
This is hard. This is hard. Zombie is dead.
This time I'm focusing.
Oh, who's that? Who's? Oh! Are you gonna make it? Oh no! Right. Okay, we got to get through this, guys. Here we go. Ready? Let's all concentrate.
I'm just going to let everyone else die first because they're just distracting me.
It looks like it's just me. It's just Johnny.
Oh, I was pressing the wrong button to grab.
Yeah, blame the tool.
Oh, come on! I got on the bounce pad.
Okay, this is it. This is the one. This is the one. I can feel it in my bones.
If you don't make it this time, we'll be moving on to one more level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, people.
Come on, everyone. Oh, right, we're all swinging it. Okay.
Wait, I've got 7. That won't work.
Yes.
Oh.
It's up to me.
So I'd also like to give a big shout
Yeah!
out to
Johnny wins.
Christoph. So Christoph is another of our designers at Media Molecule working on Dreams, and he also came to the community. He's in Paris tonight. He works with us from Paris and from Guildford. So big love to Christoph, who also is one of the key designers on not just Little Big Planet, but Tearaway as well, and now Dreams. So Christoph, sorry you couldn't be with us, but lots of love to you. Okay, so
it's interesting that Christoph is also from the community.
Yeah, exactly.
That is because
Come on,
that
guys,
was one
come
of
up
the
here.
one
You
of the
gotta pull the
dreams of Little
switch.
Big Planet was
Pull
to
the
help
switch.
give people a route into the games industry that don't necessarily have the opportunity to go to university or whatever like. So that's
Is that you?
So guys, I think we've got to wrap this segment
Okay.
up. So should we show one more little bit of a level?
Yeah,
I want you to critique it. Imagine
Okay.
that you were in a review.
Okay.
No, not that one. Do the next one. We're going to do a
another
gut
one.
read on whatever the lucky next level
I
is.
didn't get to see most of that one, but it looked very beautiful.
It looks very beautiful. Which one are we going to play, though? Let's have a
Would
look.
you have shipped that in a time?
I thought that was great. Yeah, I thought that was. I would have shipped that
There we
all
go.
the way.
Professional quality there.
This is a level called "Fly Me to the Moon" by Spaff. The Spaff. Do we think it is actually the Spaff?
Quite possibly.
Let's have a look.
If it is, then I'm slightly dubious.
Let's heavily criticise it.
Why?
Yeah. As you say, there you are. The ship is waiting. Hurry along, or you'll miss the launch window. Oh no, we've got to keep going then. Oh, it looks like there's a rocket car. Hang on.
We have to grab this.
Oh, I like Spaffs. We're too heavy with 4 players. Let's see where it would have taken us to.
So immediately in the review, at Little Big Planet Central, we would be saying, "This is rubbish."
This is rubbish.
Level
Fail.
The car needs a little bit of tweaking, maybe to a bit heavier at the back.
They weren't testing it multiplayer, I can tell.
And in all seriousness, one of the funniest things about when we were talking about finishing before, when it applies to level design as well, like you can make the beginning of a level in a day, but actually polishing it until it's finished takes a lot longer than actually the original thing. Like, what was the most grueling level in Little Big Planet that you ever worked on that was to just get it out the door? You know, it was there in day one, but took you months. What was the hardest level?
Ooh, the hardest one to get out.
One each, and then we'll wrap
one
up.
each. Okay, for me it was the factory of A Better Tomorrow, and I made this robotic arm that would like grab bombs and move them across and lift you across. And it was so temperamental that it would just break randomly each day, and I'd have to keep fixing it. So for me, the factory of A Better Tomorrow.
Right, Steve, can you name the hardest level you've ever worked on, whether it's a community level or something you worked on here? Yeah, let's tell us your hardest LBP level memory of shipping it.
From community, it's probably
from the community.
that was probably a Sky Factory level I made.
Sky Factory.
Yeah, I almost just gave up on it and then just came back at it again and finished it.
And there you go. That's what you need. You need persistence.
Power.
You mustn't give up. Victor, what was your hardest level?
I know this one that you might recognise as well. Do you remember the Expandinator?
The
It was basically I can't remember what the final name was for. It was like the one where everything's kind of
The
expanding and
collectors,
shrinking.
yeah.
It was a very good test for the physics. I remember, like in the very end of the game, we were running that level for like a couple of days to make sure the physics held up, and
It always exploded. Like if you left that level running overnight, it would always explode. So it was like the programmer's worst nightmare. Victor's level's broken again. It's the one with the sort of square
Bits,
rooms that all
It
move
was called the
and
layer,
bigger
I
and
think, in the
smaller.
end. I think that's
What's
what
it
it got called. Yeah, the layer, I think it got called in the
that
end.
was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
nightmare level. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so we're going to
totally.
wrap up the segment, and we have some very special guests. So thank you very much, designers.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Right. We are now having another stream takeover. Guys. Hello. Introduce yourselves. I'm sure you don't need any introduction.
Hello, we probably do. I am Molinator, or Jack from Sackboy.
And I'm going to hide behind you guys.
Hello, my name is Ard and/or Cog Monkey and/or Adam and/or other things. How are you doing? Hello.
Yep, we're from the community, and we have a lot of questions here for the molecules. We're very excited to hear the responses to all of these. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
I want to make sure everyone's ready before I start.
I'd just like to
Are you
point
sure?
out the questions that
Go
we're
on.
kind of like go around, and then they wrap around here to the
Of course.
outside, and
How
you've got to
else
kind
would you
of,
print it?
Fold it like this to read it.
How else would you? That's the normal way to print things, is it not, Jenny?
Thanks, Jenny.
No. Are we ready?
We're ready. Ready for the
Is everyone ready for questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So, it always looks like everyone's having quite a lot of fun here at Media Molecule. Who's the funniest person you've ever worked with? I'm going to hand it to you first, Johnny.
Well, it's clearly me, obviously. You know. Oh, well, Kenny then. I don't know. Who do you think, Victor?
I don't know. We're all special. Oh, you are all special snowflakes, yeah. So
We are all special. We are special snowflakes. Yes. What do you think, Mark?
What? That's a tricky one. Who's funny? Who's funny at Media Molecule?
Kengo was pretty funny.
Yeah, King's funny.
In a
Johnny was funny.
Yeah. Feel the humour oozing out of this. Right.
I think we're up to here.
So, second paragraph from Kengo. I have often wondered which is more important, the vision you serve or the team that makes it. When I entered that cramped studio above a bathroom shop, covered floor to ceiling in concept art, it became clear that here, the vision and the team were one and the same thing. Comedy genius.
Amazing. Beautiful.
So probably Kengo then, I imagine.
Yeah, Kengo.
Kengo's the funniest
Unanimously
person.
wins. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely remember looking at a lot of these designers sometimes and saying, like, "Are you having a laugh?" Aren't you? So I think any one of them really.
Wait, I remember the time when I did a dance off at the Golden Joystick Awards, and it was just me versus one other guy in the middle, and I remember looking over at you, and you were just on the side going, "Oh my god, what is it?" But I did win the dance off. I'd like to.
Hey. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, next question.
Next question, Adam.
Question number 2. What were you doing before Media Molecule?
Well, I was doing a game called Ragdoll Kung Fu, which was sort of in between me leaving Lionhead and then starting Media Molecule. So, yeah, I was having lots of fun programming a game in my pants at my kitchen table and wondering what on earth I was doing with my life, really. That was what I was doing.
Pretty good.
Best way to do it.
What did you study, Daniel?
Oh, okay. Is that why I've got the microphone? I used to be an estate agent. I used to, yeah.
Boo! What did you study at university?
Yeah, I used to be an estate agent, and I used to let houses to people for a living, and I realised it wasn't very creative, it wasn't very fun, and I wanted to make levels for a fun company. And I went to a lot of interviews actually for other companies who had a really good pitch, and they had like a nice shiny office and loads of cubicles and posh computers. And I came here, and the mood was like a bedroom. It was like everyone was jamming in a bedroom, and I loved it. And I picked Media Molecule, and it was definitely the best option. I think the other places might be closed down actually. One of them, I won't name any names, but yeah. That's me.
Cool. I I used to be a builder for 11 years, and then I nearly died because the trench fell on top of me, and I thought, I don't want to be a builder anymore. And and so had just launched Little Big Planet, and they were looking for designers, and I was like, please hire me, oh my god, I've made some levels. And somehow Daniel picked up on my email, and we missed each other, but yeah, then I got the job, so builder, game designer.
It's the safe option.
And a suit, a borrowed suit that was 2 sizes too big, sweating. I was like, oh my god! And I think I remember shaking your hand, Victor, and saying how honoured I was to meet you. Not anymore, no.
Okay. So there's been a lot of iconic characters in the PlayStation history. It's been Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, all these guys. How did it feel having Sackboy as a mascot of PlayStation?
Yeah, well, we were really, we were over the moon about that. Obviously, we were very happy with what we were doing and we were into it, but gradually it was coming back from Sony that a lot of people are really latching onto this character, and we think it's slowly, unofficially becoming the PlayStation 3 mascots. And obviously, because we were a new company as well, we couldn't really hope for better. It was perfect for us, so yeah, it felt like all the stars were aligning and everything was kind of going our way, so it's fantastic. And even my mum likes that character. She was never really interested in what I did before, but when she saw that character, she suddenly became a fanatic. So it's fantastic.
Thank you. So apart from Sackboy, there's a lot of strange characters in the Craft world and all the Little Big Planet games. So who are your favourite characters apart from Sackboy in the games?
I know which your favourites are, surely.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that was in Little Big Planet 2, wasn't it? The really trippy dude. Yeah, Higginbotham. Yeah, that was definitely my favourite. Who else? Eve was good. The kind of with the birdcage head.
Oh, Mags the Mechanic. Oh, pass it over. Pass it over. We need Mags the Mechanic speaking.
Hello, I am Mags the Mechanic.
Mags the Mechanic there for everyone.
I mean,
Brilliant.
Give some props to the art department here. They just churn out characters like anything, and they're all brilliant. So it's really hard to just choose which ones to use. Really, sport for choice. So yeah.
Congratulations, everyone here. That's brilliant. So, over the years, we've seen a lot of crazy creations in Little Big Planet. I remember early on you were getting amazed at calculators and people making 8-bit computers and things like that early on in Little Big Planet 1. What's the craziest creations you've seen since then? What's your favourite? If you want to take this one. Anyone? Anyone?
3D game, wasn't it? 3D first-person shooter.
Oh yeah, wasn't that yours?
Hello.
That was Steve.
Yeah, I remember seeing the 3D first-person shooter going, how did they make that?
Yeah. And now he's got a job, Steve.
Yeah, but that was awesome.
The things that people managed to make with Little Big Planet 1 and, really abuse the simple tools that we gave them, that was actually the biggest inspiration for Little Big Planet 2, really. It was like, well, let's start adding some bits that actually make that kind of stuff a lot easier. So there's too many things to remember, to be honest with you.
Oh, there was the 50-layer glitch, or was it 52-layer or 50-layer? Yeah, what was that one?
People just worked out there was a bug that they could put stuff further in the background, wasn't it? But I always really liked the things where people had sort of managed to emulate some popular arcade game, or I think somebody did like a really good version of R-Type or something like this. I really got a big kick out of all that kind of stuff. That was the stuff I loved.
Yeah, I remember one thing, like one of my fondest memories I've got to Mike was that, oh sure, I'll take two, was when we had the meeting about the switches of, there's like a big argument on whether or not we wanted to put switches in. And the question was like, what could you possibly build with the Switch that you couldn't build otherwise? And the designers had like 75 sheets of paper, and just one after another was like, we could do this, and we could do this, and we could do this, and it was just one of the weirdest moments of my game career.
Yeah. Wow, can't imagine.
Anyone else got favourite levels they want to talk about?
Has anyone mentioned Ramp yet?
Oh, Ramp is the best level ever
So Ramp is special, not because of what it did, it's because it was the first time we'd seen anyone that wasn't us make something with the game. And it was magical because, okay, the levels is not great. Sorry, Ramp creator, but it was just phenomenal to see. We were like, it works, this thing works. The thing we worked on for this amount of time, it's a thing, and people are going to hopefully make better stuff, but, you know, if they don't, cool.
Ramp is the greatest creation ever on PlayStation. I think we can all agree on that.
Oh god, that was so good for Little Big Planet 2. And it's
There's a YouTube video.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, Dead Space, yeah.
The marriage proposal.
Oh, the marriage proposal.
Oh, that was lovely. That was so nice.
There's so many. It's just impossible to name them all.
Yeah. Someone made some good neck levels on LBP1 as well, John, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
No.
We don't have Christoph here, but Christoph, when he got married, I think Christoph made like the little Sackboy, Sackgirl for him and his wife. Do you remember that?
He did, yeah.
That was amazing. Like.
Beautiful. Okay. So, Little Big Planet 2 was like a massive improvement to Little Big Planet 1. So, apparently,
steady
just saying. Well, there was a lot of extra stuff added. So, what was everyone's favourite addition to Little Big Planet 2 that wasn't in the first game?
Microchips.
Microchips were really handy, but the
Oh yeah, grappling hook.
no. I think the direct control seat was the big one for me because that suddenly meant that you could make lots of different types of games that didn't involve actually controlling a 2D character, a platform character. So that was the big one for me. Sackbots were good. Yeah.
Big addition.
Yeah. No. I don't know. What else was there?
For me, it's just the logic. Just the introduction of logic was amazing, and it allowed us to just make all kinds of stuff that was impossible before.
Well, considering in Little Big Planet 1, the story that we just heard there about just the simple keys and switches, like fighting to get that in, and then obviously Little Big Planet 2 just went.
Yeah, because you used to have the dark matter, and you used to have like glass rolling along it, so it'd have the right friction all along it.
The tricks that people did were
absolutely
phenomenal. But we thought, well, if people are managing to do that with those limited tools, we actually give them some tools to do that and see where they go with that. And that's when people like Steve would end up making first-person shooters and all this kind of thing.
He doesn't want to say anything.
So
Silent Steve, big guns.
So no, it was all about just expanding it as a sort of embracing the game creation side of it and really expanding it. I think that was
That actually reminds me that Kareem used to basically what Mark's described was something that Kareem always wanted for art, which is we have to trust people to be able to make ugly stuff so that they can push the boundaries and make incredible stuff. And it felt like when we added all the extra stuff in number 2, we'd allowed that for designers as well, for gameplay people. We'd be like, okay, look, they're obviously able to handle this. Let's give them all the tools. And they just went nuts and just made first-person shooters.
Oh, sorry. I just remember I'm going to hand to Victor, because Victor, you made all that amazing stuff on and you made like levels appear and disappear and. One area, like the
on the India one. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I guess it was working. Yeah, on that. But I think if I think back to I was working on the final boss on LBP1. And
that was ridiculous.
Yeah, and I tried. I really wanted to present in the center of the boss, there's like all the machinery that made it work basically. So it's like I was just showing how basically it was just a small part was actually on the boss, but the rest was just scattered all around the level. But it's like in the second one, you just a little microchip, and just plonk that down and it all kind of works. But it's obviously something nice with the physical switches and things as well. But you could definitely do a lot more.
I think it was a difference between being able to, you could make something and be impressed by the fact that somebody managed to make it, and then suddenly with the direct control seat and microchips, you could actually make stuff that actually played nice.
On its own right.
That was the key thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that gonna work?
That's not gonna work.
Yeah, you're taking up to the camera. Come on, people.
Christoph, yell.
Special.
Christoph, can you yell for us, please?
I can. What would I yell?
This is the man that we told you about. Another community member turned level designer. Christoph, tell us everything that we need to know.
I don't know. I start by saying probably need to learn French.
Yeah, okay.
And then you just need to say putain to everything that happened.
Well, we should keep it clean, so let's just say...
Swear, I'm sorry.
Keep it clean, everybody. Okay, Christoph.
I was ordered not to swear, but it's another language, so probably fine. But no, I guess like everyone, like Victor, like any community guy, just be curious and just like hack everything. Just go beyond the limits.
Go beyond the limits.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Christoph receding into the background. Last words, Christoph. You're getting smaller.
Oh.
They can still hear you. Say one more thing.
One more thing. Cosmo.
Hey, Christoph! Woo! All right. So we have one more question here. For the founders of Media Molecule, what was your biggest inspiration in creating Little Big Planet? What influenced you to create it in the first place?
So, obviously, we all brought in our personal tastes and previous kind of experiences, but for me, it was actually because I was a big Commodore 64 fan. If you remember that, it was probably before you were born, actually, wasn't it?
I can still remember it from history.
Yeah. Black and white photos.
Yeah, I've googled it once or twice.
Yeah, on the Commodore 64, there was a thing called the Shoot 'em Up Construction Kit.
Yes.
By Sensible Software. Yeah, and it was essentially, it's like a level editor that it would allow you to make kind of scrolling shoot 'em ups essentially, but it had a sprite editor in there and things like this. Yeah, that was a big inspiration for me. It was just embracing the idea of allowing people to make their own games, but without having to, be a professor essentially.
Let's get Alex in crawling into
So
the shop.
I've got to say, this sounds really weird, but apart from Lego and creativity and stuff, it was actually Bullfrog. So a big part of when I was 15, I got a summer job at Bullfrog, and I thought it was an absolutely incredible atmosphere. And a big part of Media Molecule for me is about, I'm not on camera, you can hear my voice, is I was recreating a bit of the atmosphere of Bullfrog and the sort of anarchic English madness. And I think meeting Kareem, Siobhan and the other founders and then everyone else who joined Media Molecule sort of suddenly felt like there was a set of people who could sort of recreate that atmosphere, and that was a very special moment. So for me, it was actually the people. And actually, Chris brought in our original pitch documents. I'm just going to hold this up, and you can freeze frame it on the YouTube afterwards. This is how you write a pitch document and get £250,000 off Sony. You heard it here first. Okay, there we go. I'm not going to... Oh, it's two's not sharp. Okay, well, we'll post this on our Twitter. It's a template. You can use it. It's guaranteed to work. Right, that's...
Brilliant. I think we need to pass over to Kareem and Siobhan over here. Go on. Get in shot. You can't be hiding over there.
Dave's hiding.
Well,
What's he doing?
Echoing what everybody's saying, the inspiration for doing Media Molecule and Little Big Planet is working in a certain way that is enjoyable and allows people to be much more a complete version of themselves. So this is what I like the most about Little Big Planet. This is what I like the most about Media Molecule.
I think I was just really lucky to be brought along on the journey. I'm really grateful to have to have known you guys and you've asked me to join, because the thing has really been just that just working with brilliant people on an idea that we had no real idea what we were doing. Like that pitch document, the fact that ended up being Little Big Planet is quite mad, and it's all because of the people here. Like every single person, there's a whole bunch of people who aren't here also, but that I think the thing that I love about the games industry is the people. There are so many brilliant people, and people just bring all these mad ideas. And I guess I had just bought my shipping experience from Criterion and Burnout, And it was just brilliant then to kind of work with a bunch of super creative, brilliant people to work on something that was like jumping off into... I love that quote of, I think it's Terry Gilliam, of like jumping off the cliff and your wings will grow. And I feel like... Right, but I think we all worked really hard. There was a great foundation. I remember when you showed Yellowhead to me, like that was just like, wow, that looks amazing. So, yeah, just a big thanks for just asking me to come and join the journey.
Thank you for saving us, Siobhan.
So that was Siobhan trying her hardest to make everyone cry on the live stream. And that's actually the end of all of our questions. Oh, it's Dave. Dave needs to get in. Dave, come get in shot. Come get in shot, Dave. Duck down. You need to get in.
So, Little Big Planet. Wait. Hold it. That's nothing. Ignore that. That was nothing. So, Little Big Planet to me, it was a game about making games. And I think that sort of let's have a sense that we were people that were all passionate about making things and making games. So we sort of ended up translating that process to share that with a community. That, to me, that's sort of the simple essence. It's that joy of creating and sharing that. And it's such a simple emotion.
Simple, not you,
Just say a big thanks to Michelle, Lauren, Cherie. Oh, you're coming, sorry.
You're coming, oh. All right, will it on. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Medium Molecule and Little Big Planet. Happy birthday to you. Oh.
I hope your dream involved shipping.
Tangled. He's stuck in it. Yes, I do. Is here okay? Hi. I don't know what to say. That was beautiful. Like, that was really quite emotional listening to you guys. So thank you to everyone for coming down and hanging out and telling stories and not being scared of being in the camera and enjoy. Oh, I'm still not in. Look, hang on. Wait. Yeah. I'm in.
You want Jenny? You're not in as well. So
Come on,
so you
girl.
guys.
Now we're just cake heads.
You all know Jenny. Jenny.
Come on, Michelle. Bring Christoph.
Thank you everyone for tuning in on the stream. Hey.
Don't take it away. Thank you so much, everyone, for checking us out and watching and talking to us on the streams. Jenny and I have been monitoring them for the duration of this evening, which has been quite good fun. Do you want to say some words?
Yeah, you do. Just thank you everybody for watching and happy birthday to Mini Molecule.
It's so exciting. And also, don't forget, if you want your special LBParty in-game pin, that you need to send your PSN ID to, PSN ID to hello@mediamolecule.com, and we will sort it out for you imminently.
And don't forget to follow us on Media Molecule
Yes.
at Twitter, Facebook,
All
Twitch,
of that.
all of
Thank
it.
you, Alex.
Yes, I can do this. Thank you, everybody.
See you guys. See you soon.